Hello there, everybody. Welcome back, and we have another SBID, aka Sawyer Breaks It Down, number 23, and that's a series that I like to do on my channel where I talk about stuff in the entertainment industry, like stories that interest me, whether it be from like movies, shows, actors, or like anything entertainment-wise, and I have stuff I would like to say on. And here's a big story, and I had a feeling I would be making this video because you could tell it was going to happen, especially with the week-to-week holds and, the really well-received, performance of the Odyssey. But it did it. It has officially become the highest-grossing R-rated film ever. Which is crazy because not only did it, do that, it did it both, I believe, domestically and worldwide. So whether you're talking about overall worldwide, which was the initial it did it, but also domestically, unless you adjust for inflation. But even still, even if you don't do that, which a lot of people are a bit iffy on even bringing that up because of how times back then, for example, Gone with the Wind, I believe it's, if you adjust, that's the most successful film ever, and I believe it made billions of dollars. But due to when it came out, around, the Great Depression type era, and, just how ticket prices were, and, there's just so many different ways that inflation, it's interesting to see, but I don't think that should be well, it didn't, it sure, it made a lot, but adjusted for inflation, and tried to, discredit it type of thing. I'm not a fan of that, but we're getting a little bit sidetracked because the big story is that it did it. Despite all the attacks online, a lot of bad faith people who don't actually care about this movie, don't actually care about watching good films or critiquing it. They just hated it for, let's just say, not good reasons. So the fact that not only did it perform really well, its opening weekend was pretty solid, and its week-to-week performances, as I mentioned, were pretty solid, but the fact that I was able to do so well despite all the online controversy and attacks on people involved and all that, I think it's great because audiences, actual real normal people that wanted to just see a film, be entertained, and see the craftsmanship of it, they proved these people wrong, that not only was it great, and I believe it was also the biggest film of Christopher Nolan's career, which I believe his biggest film was Dark Knight Rises or something, which it definitely passed that, as you know. So really huge here. And I just wanted to point out, I believe these are some of the highest grossing R-rated films right here. And you could see, I mean, it barely cleared Deadpool and Wolverine, but it's still in theaters. It's going to keep climbing up the list. And I just think it's great that, because I think it's a really terrific film. I've seen it 2 times now in theaters in 4DX, which was an experience in and of itself. So just Christopher Nolan is literally one of the best directors working. And I think that's become cliched to say, but it really is. Every time now his films come out, whether it be last time with, Barbenheimer, Oppenheimer being a part of that, it just feels like an event. It feels like you're going to an experience. And I think it's really genius how he does his films. I believe it's every 3 years. That's his rhythm. Dunkirk, I remember, was 2017, and then in 2020 was Tenet, 2023 Oppenheimer, 2026 Odyssey. So we'll see, I guess, in 3 years what the next Nolan film will be. But I think that's a really good sweet spot in releasing it for it to do this well. And I mean, I think it's also great because of, the type of film it is, because a lot of the people that, say, wow, I mean, this is not as faithful to the poem and to the story, the original lore and story. And I'm like, well, the thing that Nolan did here that I think is great is he made this old story, probably thousands of year old story by Homer, more accessible and more easier to digest to people who, yeah, we've probably heard about it, whether it be in school and all, but as someone, who is not a fan of school and stuff, it felt kind of like a chore, to go through this old story. So seeing it in this big experience, the big screen, seeing it, visually, which I know there's been other interpretations, but it just hits different. It makes it more interesting seeing actors I really like perform really well, and seeing, you know, like fight scenes and just the score, and like just the film holds up so well. And I think it was proven with how many people, you know, went to see it. And like I believe people saw it like multiple times, because you don't get that high of a number if you don't. And I believe the official Odyssey account also, you know, posted, you know, a little pat on the back type of thing, which they should, well deserved. And I know it makes the haters upset, which just makes this even better. So there wasn't really that much more I wanted to really say on it. I just wanted to do a video saying how just awesome this is and how a great year this has been at the box office for films, because I saw a recent story on how I believe Obsession, which was that, you know, really low budget like indie horror type film, made $500 million, I believe. So I mean, Michael made $1 billion. Like, so many films have done so well. And obviously Spider-Man, which I may or may not do a video on. I'm really debating on it, so we'll have to wait and see how much higher it goes up that list. But like, so many films have done so well, and they're all pretty good. Like, all these films that are making a ton of money aren't like bad per se. They're at least, you know, pretty solid, passable to great. Like, this film was great. And I know come award season, it's probably going to do a lot of damage, as it should. I mean, we have to see how it plays out, but I just think, you know, I just want to say congrats to everyone who worked on the film. If any of you will even see this video, probably not, but still, congrats. And, you know, how many more times do you guys want to go see this movie? Let's see how much higher up on this list can it get. But that was a bit of rambling now, but I really appreciate you guys checking out this video. And obviously, I'm real happy that it's done so well. I think it's a really great film. You know, so much going for it. And thank you all so much for watching this. And if you want to comment down below, what were your thoughts on it, you know, beating, you know, the highest grossing R-rated film, which is still crazy, because I vividly remember back in 2019, I think I did an SBID on Joker being the first R-rated film to make $1 billion. So the fact that now, I believe, you know, at least three R-rated films have done it, made $1 billion at least, with, you know, Deadpool and Wolverine, and now this. So we'll see. I mean, it's starting to become more accessible, I guess, R-rated films, which the audience is not as big as it could be, obviously, because of the rating. So I think that's kind of cool, just seeing how, you know, that type of thing has evolved over time. But again, let me know down below in the comments. And if you want to hit the bell as well to subscribe to when I upload, that means so much to me. Again, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye.